Hello. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Daily Political Tarot Readings here on the Black and Orange channel. Thank you so much for being here. It's a last minute kind of a change of how we're doing things today. So in 20 minutes, there's going to be a press conference by U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland. Apparently, Chris Wray is going to be there as well. And the quote that I had on the cover, which of course I don't have handy now, is that here it is. A significant national security matter, alleged criminal activity by a nation-state actor inside the U.S. So I will run through this as fast as I can. I'm here 365 days of the year to take your political questions. I don't do personal readings. This is just political. 10% of my income goes to Feeding America at feedingamerica.org. If you're watching this on replay, you can go down in the description box. All the questions are listed out there, and I timestamp them as I go. Saturday night is the Patreon monthly tarot social. We're going to do Halloween stuff, surprise, and we have a great community because of you. Thank you. Okay. Also, thank you, Flora. I love these nails. These are like my comfort nails now. I just love these. Anyway, okay. Oh, and there's a wonderful bracelet that I got as well, but I didn't have the tag with it, and I was rushing. So thank you for this. I will give you credit, but I want to thank you for this. So anyway, okay. Ricky says, in the star of the show, the only cat to yell out Shazam and turn into Shazam Kitty. Boo-Boo's and Kitty. He is sleeping in the other room, but I have a blanket waiting for him if he comes in. Okay. Here we go. We don't know exactly what this is about. The kind of concern here is, well, one, potential foreign actors, doing nefarious things on our borders, inside our borders, but also the fact that we are so close to the midterm elections. And if this has nothing to do with Trump or anything Trump did or anything like that, then national security matters usually affect people's vote, and they vote more conservative out of fear, which is ridiculous considering Democrats were the ones who actually keep you safe and actually care about you. But anyway, that Republicans want you to be on your own. Anyway, it favors Republicans. If it has even remotely anything to do with Trump, it will favor Democrats. Kathy Lamson says it's odd that Garland would speak so close to the elections. I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Electra Storm, will your cats have Halloween costumes? No, I do not. I do not attempt to dress up the little fuzzy kings. No, so okay. I do have hang on a second. I just want to make sure I've got this ready. Yeah, I do have a press conference. I'll switch this to the black. That'll be easier. I will turn off this overlay for now. So this is what we're waiting for. Okay. Although, let me, in the background, I'm going to pull up MSNBC just to see what they're saying. And because they'll tell me, they'll tell me in my ear if there's a, not me personally, but they'll tell me, I'll know if there's a delay or something like that. But I do need to sign in, apparently. Why would I sign in? I sign in. It's always me. It's always this computer. All right. And right now it looks like they're talking about NBC News poll. 80% say the other party is a threat to America. All right. So they're talking about that. So I will just turn that way down. And I will come back here. And let's have a look at what effect this news conference will have or may have. All right. Okay, so let's not knock over the drink. Taylor B says the time changed. It was 1 p.m. It's now 1:30. Well, I was expecting it to be 1:30, so good. All right, let's see here. All right, and Sarah is with us this morning, helping out. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you. So, it's probably just that I was rushing. This happened, and then I needed to change the cover and put out some social media and do all this stuff. And I've been trying to just calm down, because whatever it happens, we're gonna deal with it. Hello, Sarati. Okay. So, I'll get that out of my ear for the moment. All right, so it's 6 minutes, 30 seconds in, so it's 6:30. Let's just have a quick look. There's about to be a press conference. Trying to just... Yes, I'm in calming white light. Divine Spirit, pour your energy down on all of us. Divine energy pour through us, filling us up, to overflowing and into the world, raising the vibration of the entire world, higher and higher, for the good of all, for kindness, compassion, health, safety, so that everyone realizes, they know from their heart that we are all connected. We are in this together. We are all from the same source. Okay. Yes, Alice. Today they are starting the jury picking in the Grift Co., as I call it, the Trump org case. That's definitely on the list of things we're going to look at. So there's about to be a press conference. What effect is it going to have on the election? It does seem very strange. Oh, I'm glad you guys like the bows. I liked them. All right. 6 of Cups. Well, that actually feels good for us. That actually feels just calm Democrats. Just Saturday at the garden center, going out to the art center, friends and family. Fire Queen says, my pendulum says Garland is going to announce an indictment, but not 45. Okay. Ace of Pentacles, 6 of Pentacles, Page of Wands, 4 of Cups, 7 of Cups. This feels like a gift. There's the Messenger. But here's refusal and lies. I wonder if it's something that will ultimately not be boding well for... Well, let me start out with this. There's no major arcana here. So, I think we can ratchet down the stress level, reasonably ratchet down the stress level. And my cards usually split out between what I would consider the three major parties in this country. But I don't know that that's what this is. Let me see. All right. Maybe I'm just tied better into this deck. Cornelius says it's going to be about threats to the United States by another country. True. But if it is national security matter, since people are going to the polls, it often favors Republicans. More people who are on the fence will vote more Republican. Anytime they feel that the U.S., it's about national security. Who was in the middle? Exactly, Al. It actually didn't feel, well, like I said, let me just look at let me use my regular cards. All right, that's evidence. Whatever it is they've gathered evidence. They've been very methodical, very careful. Okay. 10 of Pentacles, Hierophant. 7 of Wands, Chariot, Ace of Pentacles. I wonder if there is somebody on the far right who was the messenger in the last set of cards and here is on the defensive. And that's a big movement. Feels like for a chunk of money. Does this affect the election? Oh, did the press conference start? Deborah says Garland's holding an emergency press conference right now in all caps. Well, I've got the this is where it's supposed to be, and I've got MSNBC in my ear. They're just running a commercial right now. Kristen says Garland's about to have a press conference. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate your help, but I've got it. I'm already here. I changed the cover. I changed the Fire Queen says who was sold documents. Yeah, I think there might be some. Mary says, Autumn, do you think that is case this time with Trump being the reason for the security risk? So I'm not getting Trump. I'm not picking up Trump, and I am getting a very stronger and stronger feeling that we need to just calm down. calm down. True, Kristen. Thomas blocked Graham's subpoena. I've got that in the list of questions, I believe. Kevin's saying, I think it may be about the hackers. Okay. Second bow on Autumn's right side. This one? Elliot Blatt says, I think it's Hunter. Not a chance. Not a chance. Lady Eva says, I'm seriously feeling this is about Trump. Something about Trump is going to happen. So at 14:30, is this about Trump? Evidence. There's that dynasty again, that 10 of Pentacles, corruption, theft. Well, there's a possibility. But we have to remember who we're dealing with here. Because Garland Garland does not want to pull any kind of combing. He's very anti that. So, sorry, I'm just trying to stay here and still be able to. Sorry, I'm trying to find the link. There it is. I couldn't find. Yeah, there's nothing's going on yet. There. So live. Yeah, live. So I'll even refresh. Yeah, nothing yet. All right. Just double checking. Kitty Arbuckle says, I also like the one with the bat wings. True. Tim says, I feel like I'm being pulled apart. Okay, now, a lot of this has to do with the eclipses, which I'll end up talking about tomorrow. I'm afraid I didn't get my research finished this morning on the eclipses because I just suddenly do a whole bunch of stuff. But tomorrow I will. Hello, Shockwave. It's been a minute. Okay. Mimi says, a feeling, foreign actors and money influencing voting. Okay. And as far as Tim feeling like you're being pulled apart, we're going to be okay. We have the midterm elections. We feel like there's a lot riding on that. There are eclipses, so the energy is really intense. Let me explain something about the eclipses. When we look at an astrology chart, it's you're kind of looking at you're kind of looking down on the earth, and from the equator, if you go straight out, you get to the ring of constellations where we center our ideas of the 12 signs of the zodiac. So you're kind of looking down at it because it's a good way to track it, but it's actually 3D. And one thing that we often don't think about is that we're actually on a plane. And for example, the moon spinning around the earth, it isn't always on that perfect plane with the average of the where the planets or the sun, the planets, all that sit. They move. It moves a little bit up and down. And so that's why we don't have eclipses every month, because it will be as the moon's spinning around, it's, there's some wiggle room. When you have an eclipse, they actually line up. So not only are they lined up like the sun here, the moon here, the earth here, not only are they lined up this way, they're lined up this way. All right, and that's where the energy gets quite powerful. And in an astrology chart, the two, they're called the luminaries, the sun and the moon, are the powerhouses, in the case of the sun, quite literally, of the chart. They're massive. You've got the sun, which is the sun, and then you've got the moon, which, because of its size, is coincidentally will create this perfect eclipse to cover the moon, to cover the sun from the distance of us to the moon to the sun beyond. So when things line up, we feel these conjunctions, these oppositions, whatever it is, we feel it more intensely because everything's lined up. So nothing's weakened. So do keep that in mind, because it can end up causing a lot of strain and stress. And yes, Shayla, after the luminaries. Yes. And the other thing is, you have to remember, there's some weirdness going on in the universe. There just is. And please keep that in mind, because this. Okay, I'll mention something here. Is that too bright? Yes, that is way too bright. The exposure is a mess today. There's something to keep in mind about the weirdness between the quantum, the effect, quantum effects, and everything else, and there are things in the universe that we're only just scratching the surface of. I mean, one of my favorite facts about space is that gravity affects time. Speed, movement through space-time affects how much time passes. And over extended amounts of time, it really adds up. I mean, we already know that we have to adjust the clocks on our satellites for GPS, or it doesn't work right, because time is moving more quickly on the surface. No, it's moving less quickly on the surface than it is for the satellites. Yes, because if you get closer, you get to the speed. Okay, anyway. Well, that works the other way as well, down to the center of the Earth. They did calculations, and the center of the Earth is 2.5 days younger than the surface because of those forces. And to give you a sense of how big the sun is, the center of the sun is 36,000 years younger than the surface of the sun because of gravity and because of the movement. And so there's all kinds of stuff happening around us that we don't even know about, or we're just touching the surface of. So something like an eclipse, the way it brings everything to the surface, and it's a lot to take on. I mean, think of as the moon goes around the Earth, but it's we, for the longest time, we would think, oh my gosh, it's pulling on it's pulling on the water. So you have the Earth, and then the water is sloshing around. Well, we know now that actually it's the other way around. The water, that height of is it's staying where it is. It's the physical, because it's being pulled by the moon. It's always pulled by the moon, and we're actually like moving within that. So it's interesting stuff, and you kind of have to wrap your brain around a lot of this. So when we get eclipses, even back to the ancients, they would say, oh my gosh, this is a big moment. This is something huge is going to happen, and what have you. Well, you can, but one of the things to remember is to stay calm. Stay calm. Things are going to be okay. We are going to get through this. We are in this together. I have not picked up once we are going to lose our democracy. Not once. I have picked up that the far right, it's going to have to play itself out. So we're going to have to deal with that for a while. But all right. They're running a commercial on MSNBC, and all right. Sounds like everybody's people are comforting Tim, which is good. So Elliot Blatt says this is not an October surprise. I would think not, but then again, you know me. I'm not. If the chances for something to happen that's kind of meh, or there's something to happen that's just huge, it's 98% of the time it's meh. So Wendy is saying if the moon can move the ocean twice a day, we're made mostly of water. What is it doing to us? Oh, it definitely has an effect on us. But okay. Betty Harper says people tend to think of an eclipse as a negative thing. Not necessarily so. Okay. All right, so at 25:30, let me just ask, is this going to be an October surprise of some nature? It's legal. It's legal stuff. Ding, aggressive law enforcement, truth, prosecution of potential things that were potentially very, very dangerous to us. That's what this is. So Dave says, MS Design says, I stood in line in the rain in Dallas for early voting today, and I got to meet Beto O'Rourke. Oh, congratulations. That's wonderful. And thank you so much for voting. Thank you. All right. I think this is the clearest energy I've got. It's legal. Legal stuff about a threat. Thing. Right. January Town. Garland is not Comey and would not do anything to influence the election. Yeah. But we'll see. We'll see. I guess they're 5 or 6 minutes late with the press conference, so. All right. So I'm leery of getting involved too deeply in a reading here, because we're just waiting by enrollment. Biden is speaking, talking about how the other side wants to cut Social Security. So, is there anything we should know right now? At 27:45. At 27:45, is there anything we need to know right now? Is there something we need to know right now? High Priestess. So I'm reading Moon, Queen of Cups, 9 of Wands. Well, what this feels like, we are nervous. We're very nervous about the election. That's just okay. That makes perfect sense. And we really do want people to use their higher wisdom, especially when it comes to women's rights. So big emphasis on women here. And one way or the other, it feels like the far right is going to end up, well, we know they're going to feel aggrieved, but they're going to keep getting pushback. And there's strong women right in the middle here, right in the middle in this card for the reading. So I think it's just, we need to try to be the calm. Sorry, we need to try to be the calm, to calm people down, to be the adult in the room, to be everything's going to be okay. We'll get through it. Yeah. Okay, Fire Queen says not one local news station here standing by for this announcement. Okay. Dave says if Republicans have no intention of accepting the result of the election, democracy is in peril. Potentially, but we're not going to lose our democracy. See here. Still not hearing anything about this conference, so they really are running late. At 30 minutes, 30 seconds, so at 30:30, is the United States, are we going to effectively lose our democracy? Are we going to effectively lose our democracy? Well, there's Trump and his followers. Queen of Cups again. King of Cups. Chariot. These are Democratic voters. This is Democratic and democracy voters going to the polls. Absolutely. We are not going to lose our democracy. All right. Carmela says, aren't we a constitutional republic? However you want to phrase this, are we going to live in a fascist state? Are we going to lose our ability to vote? Are we going to lose are we going to lose representation? Are we going to, et cetera, et cetera? No, we're going to be okay. And it's because of all you wonderful people who are going out and voting. Good stuff. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Alice says, how dark will it go before we come back to the light? I don't know that I would really have an answer for that, to be honest. So, and Maria says, I'll be voting right after your show. Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay. I wonder what's taking them so long. Ms. Cat, I'm happy to see. We will watch the press conference with you. Absolutely. Manx says, I thought a republic was much more orderly than what we're experiencing. Should be. Should be. So, all right. There's something else we could read on. Okay, let's jump to number 7, question 7 at 33 minutes in. Let's just have a quick look at the DeSantis Crist debate is tonight. How will that go? And then Oz Fetterman debate is tomorrow night. But tonight is the Crist DeSantis debate. How is that going to go? Oh, once you start, I'm starting to feel better because I'm starting to kind of recognize the eclipse energy, and it's like, oh, that's what that chaotic feeling is. I'm starting to be able to go step a little bit out of it. That's good. That's good because you don't want to live in that. Tonight, Crist and DeSantis. Mel says, I hope that Crist wipes the floor with DeSantis. Carmel will be voting this Sunday. Thank you. Thank you. Ricky is voting as a doctor's appointment near his polling place. Thank you for voting. Cheryl says, I'm watching the debate. Oh, I will be too. DeSantis, the far right. He's the incumbent. DeSantis is the incumbent. He's modeled himself after Trump for a long time. And don't forget, his wife, excuse me, DeSantis' wife is Lady Macbeth. She really is. It's because of her. She pushes him. I mean, he's awful, but she's right there pushing him along. And they will avoid using emails. They'll avoid having records of discussions. It's just Eight of Pentacles, Knight of Pentacles, Page of Swords. It feels like a bat. DeSantis says, I've done this, and then Crist bats it down. Well, I've done this, yeah, and that was horrible. Well, I've done this. He just keeps batting it down. Whatever DeSantis throws at Crist, he's just will he knock it out of the park? I don't know. Well, congratulations, Ricky. This Saturday is my wife's wedding anniversary. We've been married for 11 years. Congratulations. Storm has her ballot, doing research. La Peace mailed my ballot today. Thank you. Alice says, please remember, Crist used to be a Republican. True. But he's better than DeSantis. Crist and DeSantis in Florida. Seven of Cups. Gosh, it means DeSantis might lie about Democratic policies? You don't say. For what it's worth, I've got a lot more Democrats coming out to vote in Florida and not liking the extremism and putting DeSantis and his far-right policies and people, making them feel beaten up. This isn't telling this isn't saying who's going to win, but this is absolutely saying that there are a lot more Democrats who are going to come out than normal. People who haven't voted before. People who rarely vote. Chanel says before DeSantis, Florida's governorship was not very partisan. Evelyn says, Death Satan can't debate. I've watched him before. If he's not prepared for this, he'll mess up. Janelle says Crist is a million times better. Yeah, I keep getting DeSantis and his wife, DeSantis and his wife, DeSantis and his wife. High Priestess, or women, Democrats coming out to vote. Women voting, many, hugely. Thank you, Diane. Thank you. Vote for women. Yeah. Okay. 12:47. They haven't shown up yet. Let me see here. Mel says, I voted this morning. Thank you, Mel. It was all ladies in the room. That's wonderful. I don't know what state you're in, but that's good. That's good. Yes, Alice, Helen Reddy's. I'm woman. Hear me roar in numbers too big to ignore. Yep. So, Lola Bell saying Charlie Crist is an old campaigner, literally. Okay. So how about at 39:30, let's look at Oz and Fetterman tomorrow night. Electra says Garland is never on time for his press conferences. Fair enough. Mel Broussard, you're in Texas, and they were all women voting when you were in there. Awesome. Good. January Tom's asking, in the next couple of days, can you read about the debates? Do they actually make a difference? I think they can. I think it depends on the race. But let's make that 40 minutes in. What about Oz and Fetterman tomorrow night, their debate? Oh, wow. Let me pull some cards. It feels like Oz is going to blow it. Ugh. Strength. Fetterman is just fine. Thank you very much. Teresa Messenger says, poor Oz. He can, go wipe his tears with his money. So Knight of Wands, 10 of Cups, King of Swords, Moon, Tower. Who's holding the truth? Oz thinks he's going to go in there and fight, but Fetterman doesn't need to fight, and he just cares about people. And he who wields the truth is going to wipe the floor with the other person. Just saying. Mel Broussard says there's only one party telling the truth these days. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that does not feel, it doesn't feel like it's going to be close. True, Kevin, he might mention I think it's charcuterie, I believe, but you put it out as charcuterie board on purpose. I'm vegan, so I don't make charcuterie boards. So, Elliot says Fetterman looks like Uncle Fester. I'm a huge Addams Family fan, so huge. Oh, this is what I was looking for. So really, nothing yet. 10:51. Teresa says, yay, vegans unite. Yes. Mel Broussard says, every time Oz talks about food, he sounds like an elite snob. Because he is an elite snob, yeah. Okay, so since we're still waiting, maybe we should just get to that question about Thomas and Lindsey Graham. Justice at 43, let's say 43:15. At 43:15, Justice Clarence Thomas on Monday agreed to temporarily freeze a lower court order requiring a testimony of Republican Senator Lindsey Graham. How long will that last, or how will this go? I really wonder if the Clarence Thomas situation, he's trying to protect his wife. I think he's trying to stay on Lindsey's good side because Lindsey knows some stuff. So Clarence Thomas, you traitor to your oath. So, temporarily put on hold Graham having to testify. Is that going to go on for long? Is that going to... Kevin says, I'm moving in the vegan direction. Highly recommend it. 3 of Cups. Something tells me the Fonnie Willis grand jury and whatnot. Something tells me things aren't going well for Trump and his ilk down there. Not so much. not so good. Star, 5 of Pentacles, 9 of Wands, 10 of Wands, a Page of Cups. She's gonna get her testimony. And Roberts is not going to be happy about this because, once again, Clarence Thomas is stepping into the political realm, making political decisions based on politics, which damages the court. And boy, is it ever. The importance of Lindsey Graham, when there isn't really an argument there. And this is the burden of what he did, and you can't just carry it away. You can move it around, but you can't get rid of it. And ultimately she gets her what is it, deposition, speaking in front of the grand jury, whatever it is. So let's just some more on Fire Queen says Ray's going to speak too. Good. It was on the cover. Robin E says it's on Midas Touch. Is it on? Mary says they're about to start. Well, this is the official press conference. And it is live. Yeah, MSNBC isn't showing it yet. Robin E says their guy was just at the podium. It's still an empty podium. Nancy's saying there's a 2-minute warning. Okay. Okay. So Nancy says Merrick Garland press conference is about to start. It's on live. All right. Well, this is the official. This is their official U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland, senior Justice Department officials to hold press conference on significant national security matter. Start time 1:30 p.m. Eastern. Running a little late. All right. I can try C-SPAN. And let me pull this up. Oh, here we go.
I'm joined today by Deputy Attorney General Monaco, FBI Director Wray, and Assistant Attorney General Olson. Also here are Assistant United States Attorneys from the Eastern District of New York and the District of New Jersey. Over the past week, the Justice Department has taken several actions to disrupt criminal activity by individuals working on behalf of the government of the People's Republic of China. As always, the defendants in these cases are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Earlier today, in the Eastern District of New York, a complaint was unsealed charging 2 PRC intelligence officers with attempting to obstruct, influence, and impede a criminal prosecution of a PRC-based telecommunications company. The complaint alleges that in 2019, the defendants directed an employee at a U.S. government law enforcement agency to steal confidential information about the United States criminal prosecution of the company. The defendants believed the government of the People's Republic of China. As always, the defendants in these cases are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Earlier today, in the Eastern District of New York, a complaint was unsealed charging 2 PRC intelligence officers with attempting to obstruct, influence, and impede a criminal prosecution of a PRC-based telecommunications company. The complaint alleges that in 2019, the defendants directed an employee at a U.S. government law enforcement agency to steal confidential information about the United States criminal prosecution of the company. The defendants believed that they had recruited the U.S. employee as an asset, but in fact, the individual they recruited was actually a double agent working on behalf of the FBI. As the complaint alleges, the defendants paid a bribe to the double agent to obtain non-public information, including files from the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Eastern District. They did so in the hope of obtaining the prosecution strategy memo, confidential information regarding witnesses, trial evidence, and potential new charges to be brought against the company. The double agent provided the defendants with documents that appeared to present some of the information they sought. In fact, the documents were prepared by the U.S. government for the purpose of this investigation and did not reveal actual meetings, communications, or strategies. This was an egregious attempt by PRC intelligence officers to shield a PRC-based company from accountability and to undermine the integrity of our judicial system. Also earlier today, in the District of New Jersey, an indictment was unsealed charging 4 individuals, including 3 PRC intelligence officers, with conspiring to act in the United States as illegal agents on behalf of a foreign government. The indictment alleges that between 2008 and 2018, the defendants used the cover of a purported Chinese academic institute to target, co-opt, and direct individuals in the United States to further the PRC's intelligence mission. Those directives included attempts to procure technology and equipment from the United States and to have it shipped to China. They also included attempts to stop protected First Amendment activities, protests here in the United States, which would have been embarrassing to the Chinese government. Separately, in the Eastern District of New York, the Justice Department charged 7 individuals who were working on behalf of the PRC with engaging in a multi-year campaign of threats and harassment to force a U.S. resident to return to China. Last Thursday, we arrested 2 of those defendants. Those activities were part of the PRC's global extra-legal effort known as Operation Fox Hunt. Its purpose is to locate and bring back to China alleged fugitives who have fled to foreign countries, including the United States. The PRC has a history of targeting political dissidents and critics of the government who have sought relief and refuge in other countries. The indictment alleges that the defendants, working at the direction of the government of the PRC, engaged in a campaign of harassment, threats, surveillance, and intimidation aimed at coercing the victim to return to China. We also allege that the defendants threatened and harassed the victim's family members, both in the U.S. and in China. The PRC government forced the victim's nephew to travel from China to the United States to convey the PRC's threats to the victim's son. The defendants threatened the victim, saying that, quote, coming back and turning herself in is the only way out. They showed up at the home of the victim's son in New York. They filed frivolous lawsuits against the victim and his son and said it would be, quote, endless misery for the defendant and son to defend themselves. And they made clear that their harassment would not stop until the victim returned to China. As these cases demonstrate, the government of China sought to interfere with the rights and freedoms of individuals in the United States and to undermine our judicial system that protects those rights. They did not succeed. The Justice Department will not tolerate attempts by any foreign power to undermine the rule of law upon which our democracy is based. We will continue to fiercely protect the rights guaranteed to everyone in our country, and we will defend the integrity of our institutions. Before I turn the podium over to Deputy Attorney General Monaco, I want to recognize the FBI, the National Security Division, and the U.S. Attorney's offices for their extraordinary work on these cases. Now, Deputy Attorney General Monaco.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Mr. Attorney General. The Department of Justice will not tolerate threats from a foreign power to the rights of Americans or to our nation's institutions. As the Attorney General has laid out, the cases unsealed today take place against a backdrop of malign activity from the People's Republic of China that includes espionage, harassment, obstruction of our justice system, and unceasing efforts to steal sensitive U.S. technology. In the words of our intelligence community, China seeks to be a major power on the world stage and to challenge the United States in multiple arenas. Today's cases make clear that Chinese agents will not hesitate to break the law and to violate international norms in the process. Two of those cases, in particular, show the lengths they are willing to go in pursuit of unfair advantage. But the defendants charged today met their match in the agents, analysts, and prosecutors of the Department of Justice. According to one indictment unsealed today, 2 intelligence officers attempted, through bribery and espionage, to obstruct the federal criminal prosecution of a global telecommunications company headquartered in the PRC. The defendants attempted to bribe someone they believed was an insider to steal the prosecutor's playbook, including who the prosecutors were meeting with and what they would argue in court, all so that the company could unlawfully gain an edge and undermine the government's case. But the insider flipped the script on the defendants by working not for them, but for Team America. The defendants' desperate efforts to sabotage this prosecution expose the PRC's government's commitment to tilting the playing field in favor of Chinese corporations abroad. Far from accepting the rule of law, PRC agents sought to use bribes to help the Chinese company obstruct and evade it. This case exposes the interconnection between PRC intelligence officers and Chinese companies, and it demonstrates once again why such companies, especially in the telecommunications industry, shouldn't be trusted to securely handle our sensitive personal data and communications. In another matter announced today, individuals associated with the Chinese government allegedly continued its relentless campaign to gain access to our technology, recruit agents, and attempt to stifle the free exchange of ideas. According to the indictment, over a 10-year period, the defendants and others used a fake think tank to try to recruit a former federal law enforcement and state homeland security official and others through a variety of means, including with all expense-paid trips to China. In each case, though, the plots failed because the men and women of the Department of Justice defended our institutions and thwarted the persistent threat posed by agents of the PRC. I want to thank the agents, analysts, and prosecutors in all 3 of these cases for their tireless work on behalf of the American people. And now I'll turn the podium over to FBI Director Wray.
Well, thank you. First, let me begin by pointing out that 10 of the 13 charged individuals we're discussing today are Chinese intelligence officers and Chinese government officials. They're charged in 3 different cases that might seem at first glance to be about unrelated issues. However, and this is something that I've been talking about for years now, each of these cases lays bare the Chinese government's flagrant violation of international laws as they work to project their authoritarian view around the world, including within our own borders. In all 3 of these cases, and frankly, in thousands of others, we've found the Chinese government threatening established democratic norms and the rule of law as they work to undermine U.S. economic security and fundamental human rights, including those of Americans. We also see a coordinated effort across the Chinese government to lie, cheat, and steal their way into unfairly dominating entire technology sectors, putting competing U.S. companies out of business. As I've pointed out before, their economic assault and their rights violations are part of the same problem. They both flout the rule of law. And one of the purposes of the Chinese government's repression is to make it easier to steal our innovation. They try to silence anyone who fights back against their theft, companies, politicians, individuals, just as they try to silence anyone who fights back against their other aggressions. And in our cases today, we've got yet another example, their attempted obstruction of an independent judicial process to give underhanded help to one of their companies accused of breaking our intellectual property laws and deny justice to that company's victims. Since I started as FBI director, I've been repeatedly sounding the alarm about the Chinese government's disregard for fair business practices, for international norms, and for the rule of law. The FBI has been reaching out and warning, and more importantly, helping the communities the Chinese government targets. Businesses of every size and in almost every sector, from agriculture to green tech to semiconductors, the Chinese American community, academia and state and local governments, and our foreign partners around the world. Today, every one of those partners is awake and alert to that threat in a way that just wasn't always true 5 years ago. And our success bringing more and more partners to this fight highlights something else important. Beijing may think our adherence to the rule of law is a weakness, but they're wrong. We're disrupting Chinese government criminality and aggression, not just while adhering to our values, but by adhering to our values. Our democratic and legal processes arm us with weapons that China doesn't have, among others, real partners and allies. And our partnerships help protect the American people every day. Today's cases are no different. We couldn't have accomplished this work without our foreign partners and the U.S. academic community in particular. One reason we've had so much success bringing partners to this fight against the Chinese government's aggression is that they see through Beijing's hypocrisy. For example, they see the type of CCP hypocrisy on display in our Foxhunt case today, yet another case where the Chinese government officials and co-conspirators mercilessly harassed a naturalized U.S. citizen to try to force him to return to China against his will. They accused the victim in this case of embezzling money, but two of the subjects who targeted him, two of the defendants charged today, are themselves actually involved in a scheme to launder millions of dollars. And as if that weren't enough evidence that the real purpose of their operation was political, they gave their victim a deadline to return by, the 20th CCP Congress earlier this month. They're focused on repression, not law enforcement. But our partners also see the CCP's broader hypocrisy, the fact that while the CCP claims to stand for sovereignty and non-interference in other states' affairs, what the Chinese government actually does is interfere with sovereign governments around the world whenever doing so suits Beijing. Here, interfering with our independent judiciary, violating both our sovereignty and the norms of police conduct to run lawless intimidation campaigns here in our backyard, and corrupting our academic freedom to further their campaign of repression and theft. The FBI is going to continue to say what we mean and mean what we say. So our partners, both here and abroad, many of whom tell us they're battling Chinese aggression themselves, know they can depend on us against the Chinese government and countless other dangers. Finally, let me urge any person or company being targeted or approached by the Chinese government to come to the FBI for help. No American citizen, resident, company, or university should battle this threat alone. and you don't have to. You can report information through your local FBI field office or online at fbi.gov. And know that our quarrel is with the Chinese government, the Chinese Communist Party, not the Chinese people, and certainly not Chinese Americans. I want to congratulate all the FBI special agents, intelligence analysts, and professional staff who have worked on these cases, as well as our partners at CBP and the IRS. I also want to take the opportunity to specifically thank the government employee who played such a critical role in the obstruction of justice case. You know, we employ double agents frequently in our counterintelligence operations against the PRC's services and other foreign threats. And given the nature of that work, we very rarely get a chance to publicly thank them. So I am delighted to have that chance today. Thank you.
Good afternoon. These three cases highlight once again the threat that individuals acting at the direction of the PRC government pose to our institutions and to the rights of people inside the United States. These operations include the harassment and attempted repatriation by force of individuals living in the United States, the effort to corrupt our judicial system, and the attempt to recruit agents for the PRC under the cover of a phony academic organization. We will not tolerate these actions. The National Security Division, which I'm privileged to lead, was created to take on our most significant national security threats. These cases reflect the breadth and the persistence of hostile nation-state activity. These actions threaten our sovereignty and they threaten the rule of law, and countering these threats is a cornerstone of the mission of the National Security Division. Our success in disrupting these threats depends on our strong partnerships with the U.S. Attorney's offices, with the FBI, and with the U.S. intelligence community. So I want to take this opportunity to recognize the exemplary work of the U.S. Attorney's offices that made these cases possible. First, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of New York, that's led by Breon Peace. And I want to thank Assistant U.S. Attorney Alex Solomon, who is with me here on stage, AUSA's Meredith Arfa and Antoinette Rangel, as well as National Security Division Trial Attorney Scott Claffey. I also want to recognize Philip Sellinger, the U.S. Attorney for the District of New Jersey. We are grateful for the work of Assistant U.S. Attorneys Brendan Day, who is also here, and Joyce Malliette. Along with the FBI and the National Security Division, these offices and the attorneys in these offices are on the front lines every day, working to defend our national security and to deliver justice on behalf of the American people. Thank you.
We got everybody? Okay, in that case, we're ready for some questions.
Thank you. I was hoping one of you, maybe the FBI director, could talk a little bit about the timing of this announcement coming at the end of the party Congress and the beginning of Xi's third term, and whether what kind of a signal it is intended to send to China at this delicate political time. And then, Attorney General, I have a question for you as well about another large company. Okay, all right. Make sure you come back to me, please.
So we bring cases when they're ready. And that's probably the simplest answer and most straightforward answer to that. As far as what signal they send, if the Chinese government, the Chinese Communist Party, continues to violate our laws, they're going to keep encountering the FBI.
All right, I'm back.
Thank you so much. With regard to another large company, a judge on Friday said that the families who were victims of the Boeing 737 MAX crash have standing to challenge the settlement in that case as crime victims. And I just am wondering if DOJ leadership is worried about the Boeing settlement, that it could be vacated now because prosecutors seemingly violated the crime victims' rights.
It's a matter, obviously, from the question, part of ongoing litigation, so I'm just not going to be able to answer it.
First question for the FBI director, and then I have one for the Attorney General. Director Wray, given the brazen nature of these allegations, I was wondering if you could give us an update on the level of activity you see from the PRC in terms of the number of open cases that you have at any given moment, and what this says about the potential for the midterms in terms of Chinese manipulation and or the Russians as well.
Well, as far as the brazenness of the Chinese government's threat, these cases, I think, are part and parcel of a broader effort that we're seeing and have seen for some time. I think I recently commented that when I last looked, we were opening a new China counterintelligence investigation about every 12 hours. And it's about a 1,300% increase from several years ago. As far as the election itself, the threat of any nation state to our election system, to influence, to interfere, is something that we have to all remain vigilant about. In many ways, malign foreign influence, whether it's from the Chinese government, the Russian government, or other governments, is not just an election cycle issue, but a 365-day-a-year problem. And that's why we created the Foreign Influence Task Force several years ago, and that's why we work so closely with our partners in the intelligence community, with the Department of Homeland Security, and in particular with state and local election officials, which, of course, as you know, is where the responsibility for the primary responsibility for the integrity of our election systems lies.
General Garland, given the nature of the Mar-a-Lago investigation, I was wondering, can you guarantee to the American public when the investigation is complete that there will be transparency so the country writ large will know whether there were criminal offenses that took place or not?
Look, this is an ongoing investigation, so I'm really not able to comment. We speak through our filings and through the cases we bring. That's the only way we speak.
I have a question about this particular case, and this for anyone. I assume, first of all, that these two individuals in the first case and the EY case are not in custody. Is there any prospect of getting them into custody? And then secondly, is there any sort of suggestion that Huawei was connected in any way to these two individuals in terms of inducing their behavior or being aware of their behavior?
Give Mr. Solomon a chance to answer these questions.
We're not going to comment on the identity of the company involved in the first charging instrument. And we are always interested in apprehending individuals who violate our laws and who are named in charging instruments.
But even without naming the company, is there any allegation that they were aware or participants or cognizant of this?
There's an allegation that one of the officers in the complaint refers to directions from the company to arrange a meeting, which the officer refuses.
Jeff. Attorney General Garland, this is midterms related. Have you been 15 days out? We're getting closer.
When you start a question like that, you pretty much know what my answer is going to be, don't you?
Have there been concerns about intimidation, people armed at polling places in Arizona, problems in Houston, Harris County, asking for DOJ's help? Are you concerned about what you're seeing this far out, and will the Department of Justice get involved?
The Justice Department has an obligation to prevent, to guarantee a free and fair vote by everyone who's qualified to vote, and will not permit voters to be intimidated.
Quick side question, if I could ask, was it a mistake to get rid of the China initiative?
So I think as these cases make quite clear, we are unrelenting in our efforts to prevent the government of China from economic espionage, from operating in the United States as foreign agents, from trying to affect our rule of law, our judicial system, from trying to target and recruit Americans to help them. I'm going to let Mr. Olson say more about the China initiative, but I think this case should be very clear that we have not in any way changed our focus on those kind of behaviors by China.
So as the Attorney General said, we have stayed very focused on the threat that the PRC poses to our values, to our institutions. We speak through our cases, and we speak to those cases today. And I think what we are charging today in terms of the range and persistence of the threat we see from the PRC demonstrates that we have remained relentless and focused on that threat, and we will continue to be focused on that threat going forward.
Got rid of it in name, essentially.
So we ended the China initiative earlier this year after a lengthy review and adopted a broader strategy focused on the range of threats that we face from a variety of nation states, and that's the strategy we're carrying forward.
Thank
All
you.
right, thanks, everybody.
Thank
Have
you.
a good day.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, stop screen. Okay, so let me close this down over here. Department of Justice is off air. Got that. I downloaded those questions. Oh, am I buffering? Okay, so I did a few readings while that was going on, so I can share those with you here. But it's not very. Hang on, just there. That makes it a little easier to see there. And then this one, I just want to turn up the contrast on this and make it a little brighter so you can see the cards. Okay. So the first, let me share this. Oh, thank you. So at 1 hour, 16 minutes, 15 seconds. So 1:16:15. I've got, I looked at Christopher Wray and his future. As far as the, what's going to happen to him? Is he going to be out soon? Is this? I'm surprised he's still there. But then again, Biden is more of a traditionalist. So, let's see. Let me go over to this page. So I can say, let me get an arrow. I don't know. Let's try this one. Hey. Make this just a little bit smaller. Just let me point to what I'm looking at. Okay, so I was looking at Christopher Wray. Card for the reading is this Page of Wands. He's out there giving his message today. Fair enough. As far as got the Two of Pentacles, Queen of Pentacles, the Eight of Wands, the Page of Swords, and the Four of Swords. This to me is telling. These together. That he's not going to be there forever, and it feels like it just peters out, where it's just you're done here. And it does, his history will always be tainted by the fact that he was heading the FBI during Sniffy's reign of terror, and he tried to walk a line, but he was still there, right in the center, this center card. In a 5-card spread, for me, it's usually the center card has a lot of power. And that's what this is saying. These are all the heinous things that Trump was doing, and there he was. But he's kind of middle of the road. I mean, he's coming across as something of a moderate, although this is him having sided with Trump makes me crazy. But this kind of moderate energy, and then it just peters out. That's what that feels like. So I tried to get some more clarification, and for the 3-card spread here, and I had the Sun for the reading. Then I had the 10 of Wands. Again, this is the burden of what he was doing under Trump, and Magician standing up doing his work, and this is the card of working, but it's also Pentacles, Republicans. So I'm not getting like a huge scandal that brings him down per se. I'm getting he's there, and then he's not. So, Wheezy Squeeze Box, you're right. Christopher Wray has shrunk to a page. Exactly. He's a page here. He's a page here. Yeah. He thinks he's the magician, and I think that has more to do with this is Major Arcana. I think that has more to do with the office he's in, but he himself, yeah. Okay, so that's FBI Director Chris Wray. So then I was asking about how is it going to affect the future of China and the U.S.? Whoops. There we go. Ace of Wands. This is the card for the reading. And that would be an action, big action. It was taken by the Chinese, who are very far right. So very far right. In fact, their wands, this is heavy on wands right there. So the action, because of the action they took, this is the card of charity, or it's basically giving bits to somebody to try to win their approval, get them on board, whatever the situation is, but giving a little bit here, a little bit there. Queen of Wands, this would be a group of these far right on the Chinese, but ding, 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 right in the middle. That is liberal democracy. This is the U.S., and they had all their ducks in a row. They saw this coming. They really worked on setting this mess up. And going forward, we've got there's Biden, or a Democratic administration, and there's the Eight of Wands. So what it looks like is, far from chastening the Chinese, this is going to make them go, oh, well, all right, let's start over. Let's do it again. Let's do it better. How did they catch us? Okay, now we know how not to get caught. Or they think. It does not look or feel like this is going to stop them one whit. So then, I'm sorry I missed who it was, and I need to go back. I'm sorry, I didn't mention the timestamp on that last question. Sorry. And at 1:22:30, I was looking, because someone in the chat had asked about involvement of the GOP with China, Chinese money, that sort of thing. So I looked at this, and the card for the reading is the Four of Cups. One of the things about politicians is that you need a huge amount of money to run in the modern world as a politician, and any shortcuts people can come up with so that they don't have to. There's actually a building near the Capitol, the Capitol building, where people go because they can't make phone calls, money raising phone calls in the building for some reason. There's some kind of law. So they have to go over here, and they look miserable. But they go in there, they get on the phone, and they start calling for donations and calling. And apparently they put regular hours in. The politicians themselves put regular hours in doing that. And it's brutal, and it's unpleasant. And so when you get Russia or whomever coming forward and saying, hey, want some money? There are some people who will just go, you know what? Sure. What do you want? Oh, Sarah has a timestamp estimate. Thank you. So this would be a refusal to play by the normal rules of democracy. That compromise my beliefs a little. This is a card of unsteadiness, a little compromising. Excuse me. Excuse me. And we need to be working on other things. We need to be fighting the liberal whatever. And this is a way to get money and it saves us on work. But it doesn't feel big. There's no major arcana here. It doesn't feel like it's just, it doesn't feel like there's Chinese money running through the GOP the way there was Russian money running through flowing through the GOP. So you will find some who are, say, I'll send out a certain amount of messages, or I'll be for China in certain respects. I won't be against them. But this is it's just a two of wands. I mean, it's communication. And this is work, but it's not furious work. And this five of wands over here, it doesn't feel like we have to stir up things for China. It feels like my crazy far right beliefs say that I need to do these things to save our country or whatever nonsense. So anyway, that is what I am getting for that. All right. And having just a quick look in the chat. Evelyn says, I'm praying people won't attack Chinese citizens. Oh gosh, I'm with you on that. That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. Mel Broussard said, I'd say that PRC is more left than right. Authoritarianism, though. Hang on, where was that? Thank you for the blessing. Mel says, I'd say the PRC is more far left than right, but when you get so far to either extreme, the violence is a common element. It makes it hard to tell. Authoritarianism it's like there's moderate, and then you have moderate left, moderate right, you have extreme left, extreme right, and then you get to authoritarianism. So, thank you. And yeah, Glenn Burt, far left, dictator. Far right, dictator. Yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, and Chinese environmental problems, massive. Okay. And just having a look. All right. Cheryl says China is all about hacking, not so much bombing. Okay. All right. And someone earlier was saying, talk about Elaine Chao. My understanding is she's actually Taiwanese. So, and her family is insanely wealthy. So my understanding is that she's not going to side with China, but holy buckets, is she going to side with herself and her family? And she's married to McConnell, so that tells you something. Can you imagine falling in love with Mitch McConnell? I mean, we all make mistakes in relationships, but anyway. Sarah says, yes, Elaine Chao is from Taiwan. Yeah. Okay. So, it's 1:37, but let me just have a quick look at is there something pressing? Don't forget the debate tonight, Crist and DeSantis. And, I did want to look at 1:29. We'll have a quick look at the new UK Prime Minister. Should he bother to unpack? I heard him speaking this morning, saying what a great privilege it is to be made Prime Minister, and he's about as exciting. Let's put it this way: Boris Johnson was kind of hot sauce. what's her name who just left? She's kind of insanely overpriced chocolate. This man, listening to him, he's like a graham cracker. It's just, his energy's just there. Oh, Sheila, let's not talk about the thought of McConnell's physical prowess. Whew, no. No. It's the jury selection in the Grift Co. case is going to take a couple of weeks. So we'll be looking at that tomorrow or the day after. We've got time. Sarah says it's the money. He apparently has 3 times the wealth of Charles. Ricky says he's boring. If you're boring, you're my kind of person. I thought we were friends. Anyway, I'm kidding. All right. Anne says Sunak may be boring, but he's very smart and very rich. I don't like him. I'm not saying I like him. Sarah says at least a new PM can't be bought. Yeah, but that sometimes mean people are in their own, I'm right, I know everything. I have money, therefore I know everything. He's number 3. He's the 3rd PM in X many. Okay. 3 of Swords, Star, Knight of Cups. And what he does is going to help labor. Yeah. He is a Tory. This is there. It feels like it's not even necessarily him. It's the Tories are just a mess. And it's your time in the spotlight. And what he does, it's just labor getting stronger and stronger and stronger. Anne says, I like boring, but I don't like Tories. Sarah says there are 3-month-old babies who have lived through 3 prime ministers. Ken says, I'm a big fan of boring. Things get exciting enough all by themselves. Oh, okay. I think I'm being misunderstood here. If you saw my personal life, talk about boring. I have a great share of happiness for a reason. I work a lot. That's it. But he's just. It doesn't feel like he's going to be he's like a man of vision who's going to pull the UK out of their. No. That's not what I'm getting. Wow, helping labor. 2 of Swords, Queen of Wands, Queen of Cups. Look, they made a decision. Groups of the Tories are they're a mess, and it ends up with helping labor, helping the Labor Party. I did. Sarah says, yes, he can be boring and still support heinous garbage. Yes. Yeah. Everything he does is going to be magic for the Labor Party. That's what I'm getting. So, all right, that's going to do it for me for today. But thank you for staying with me. That was we I think if you're like me, you first heard that there was going to be this press conference, it was like, really? But then you go, oh, it's Garland. But if the talking, then it was, well, talking about foreign actors, it's like, oh, but the top secret stuff. Yeah, but it's this close to an election and it's Garland. So, and then I was rushing around trying to change the graphics and trying to get things set up and find stuff and on and on. And I think it's been a very tiring kind of morning, but we made it through because we do. And we're going to vote and we're going to get through this and we're in this together. All right. Seriously. So it is 1:44 p.m. here in Chicago. At 4 o'clock, I'll be over on the Creative Sprints channel. You're always welcome. Any kind of creative work, you are most welcome. And other than that, I'll be right back here tomorrow. We are in this together. You're not alone. And there are good days ahead. All right. So hang in there. All right. And I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.